I've been summoned out of my tent this morning because there are deer surrounding my tent. Hello, little friends. We haven't seen much wildlife out here in the desert, so it's a real treat to see these guys. Utah road trip day 4, and we are hitting the road from Capitol Reef National Park and heading to go to Bryce National Park just for the day, and then we'll be driving back to sleep at Goblin Valley tonight because we head home tomorrow, and that's just a lot closer to Boulder than Bryce Canyon. I'm really excited to see Bryce. I haven't been there since 2016, I believe. I do kind of wish we'd had another day to explore Capitol Reef. It just seems like a really cool park, and I love all the fruit trees around, all the flowering trees. But alas, we must get on the road, and I'm really excited about Bryce, so it's gonna be all good. We've got snow and trees out here, which is different. No dilly-dallying today. This is our trailhead, Sunrise Point. Welcome to Bryce Canyon National Park, famous for these sandstone hoodoos that you'll see everywhere. Liz and I are hiking the Fairyland Loop today. It's an 8-mile moderate hike, and so far it's absolutely freaking gorgeous, and I'm loving it. So yeah, come along with us as we hike around the loop. I don't know if you noticed this, but we're at higher elevation today. We're above 8,000 feet above sea level. So notice there's still a bunch of snow in this park. Well, snow and mud, which is a good reminder that if you see mud on the trail, just hike right on through it. Your shoes might end up looking like this, but that's okay. You guys, Liz has a fun fact to share with us about the hoodoos.
All right, well, they were formed. You can imagine all the water that goes in the cracks, and then this is how they are.
So the water forms all those like divots and cracks and
this expand.
Oh wow, cool. Thanks, Liz.
Yep.
This is the sunken ship. Liz does not think it looks like a ship. Look at this purple and yellow rock. It's beautiful. So I'm a little bit over halfway through the trail, and I just wanted to point something out, which is the beginning of this trail was pretty busy. There were a lot of people on it the first mile or two, but I think this is just the pattern I'm noticing in national parks. If you want to get away from people, you just have to get more off the beaten path. Like, do longer hikes. There might be people at the beginning, but the farther you get into the wilderness, like the farther you get into the backcountry, the fewer people you're gonna see. So we got to the visitor center. It's Monday. We got to the visitor center probably at 10 o'clock. We walked in and I was like, no, I have to get out of here. I like to go in and learn things about the park before I start my hikes, but it was an absolute zoo in there and it made me so nervous because I was like, oh, I hate hiking around a ton of people. And then we got to this trailhead and we had a little bit of a hard time finding parking, so I was like, oh no. And then the first mile or two, there were quite a few people on it, so I was like, oh no. But we've barely seen anyone in the past few miles. So I just think that's a lesson for national parks in general. Get farther out if you want more solitude, and you can still go to the national parks and appreciate the wonder and still get away from people, even though they're very popular. So this is Fairyland Point. We were going to start the hike here, but it turns out right now in mid-April, the road to Fairyland Point is still not open yet, probably because there's still a lot of snow in the park. So instead, we had to start at Sunrise Point, but it's all good because we still got to come pass by Fairyland Point. So no biggie, and it's a loop, so it doesn't matter where you start. But here we are at Fairyland Point. And that's the hike. Unfortunately, it was a quick visit to Bryce Canyon, so we're back on the road. After an amazing hike today at Bryce Canyon National Park, we have driven back toward Boulder and stopped at Goblin Valley State Park for the night. Look at this campsite. This is really cool. I'm really excited to be here. This is our most expensive campsite that we're staying at. This one is $50 a night, but oh my gosh, it's so lovely, and there are showers. Utah road trip day 5. This is our last day of the trip. We are heading back to Colorado later today, and we're just exploring Valley of the Goblins in Goblin Valley State Park this morning. Liz, what do you think so far?
It's pretty cool.
Pretty cool indeed. I actually already have a video from Valley of the Goblins from a couple years ago. I'll link it down in the show notes. So we're not going to go through the whole thing today, but we just wanted to give a little recap of our road trip before we say goodbye from this trip. So Liz, tell me, of all the hikes we've been on, what's been your favorite?
I would say Bryce Canyon. It has a mixture of, snow, a little bit of the desert, not too hot. We're at 8,000 feet elevation. Yeah, that was my most favorite. The least favorite would probably be the one at Capitol Reef.
Okay, I would also put the Fairyland Trail at Bryce Canyon as my favorite. Bryce Canyon is just so magical. It's so magical. It's so pretty. And yeah, it wasn't too hot. I felt like we got some diversity of ecosystems. Even though we've been going around the desert, each place has been a little bit different, but that's definitely been my favorite too. And I would give second place to the Fiery Furnace at Arches National Park. It's just really fun to be able to climb over stuff and explore like you're a kid. And then I liked Capitol Reef, but it was hot and it was long. I'm gonna put my least favorite as Delicate Arch at Arches. It's really pretty, it's a pretty easy hike, but it was just absolutely crawling with people, hundreds of people on the hike. But we did do the hike at noon on a Saturday, so that's on us. I think if you did it at an off-peak time, it would be fine. But we were really excited to get into the Fiery Furnace first thing Saturday morning, and then we just tacked on Delicate Arch afterwards. So that's why we did it at noon on a Saturday. Don't be like us. Don't make our mistakes. And then I'll say, as far as camping spots go, I really loved camping at Goblin Valley. What a cool campsite. Yeah, there's goblins everywhere in the campsite. It's just very, very cool. It feels like you're on another planet. Yeah, so this has been a great trip. I would definitely recommend to you guys, if you haven't been around the Utah parks, take a trip. Go spend some time doing it. Just maybe not at peak times. Yes. I can't leave though without giving you guys at least a little snapshot of Valley of the Goblins. I'll also add that I really like Valley of Goblins for the same reasons that I like Fiery Furnace. You just get to wander around and climb on stuff. I feel like kids would especially really love this hike. And that's not to say you should be climbing straight up goblins. That's frowned upon, but there you can climb deep into the goblins basically and just make your own route. It's really fun.